been a long day. Doing a lot of research, and it's a lot, and honestly I've had to write down these thoughts, because there's oftentimes I'm wondering what I do here, all the constant whispering. Sometimes I feel alone. I'm going out of my mind because I'm so alone. I mean, the depths of the nether called to me, and I honestly don't know why. There's a part of me that also yearns to go to the end. I know there's certainly something there. And honestly, I've been trying to research this blade that I got. There's just a part of me that's always found interest in it. Because there's all the voices around me. It just calls to me, like, missing memories that I have, past lives that I might have lived. There's certainly something that's there that's I'm certainly not quite placing. Because, I mean, I know I do have some weird connection with, like, the spirits and other worlds and other lives. That much is true, and that's what the voices tell me. I always know that I enjoy taking powers from others, but I hate going out trying to battle, which is honestly very weird, since I've learned how to survive and patch myself up, bring myself back up to my room using the waystone, and using whatever strength I had left back to my room to recover. I also know that I really enjoy caving, exploring all the different pockets, as I find super easy thanks to being able to just see in the dark. There's this area also has like I don't know what it is about the air of this area. I don't know if it's just because it's swamp-ish, but like there's a certain dampness to the air that I never thought I would enjoy, which it's just weird because it's just something I've always hated before, but only recently I always thought just being near the water felt right. Maybe I'm just going crazy, so I wouldn't be surprised. But some of the voices that I've been hearing, one tells a story of fallen kingdoms. There's 5 kingdoms in the past that stood over the lands, but due to time, one by one they fell. And one of the ones that they mentioned was a desert kingdom facing the nether and willing to face other kingdoms, but they never did. The leader of that area apparently never saw what they found, because apparently there was no major. Apparently there was no threat to face them. Then there was apparently some type of sunflower kingdom that focused on farming and bees, hidden in a valley and away from most of the world, and it was apparently liege with the Nightingale dynasty. But they only fell just because they weren't able to develop quick enough. The third was an acacia village that fell due to the natural ages of mysterious causes. Honestly, not much is written into the history tomes about them. The next one was the Nightingale dynasty. Apparently there was many tomes that the voices have learned about, and the final pacifist kingdom was the pacifist kingdom that the many of our tomes apparently there were a pacifist kingdom residing over the village that the originals grew up around, focused on farming, building, and trading villagers in hopes to provide goods to others. But that's sort of what I'm doing now. And the last to supposedly fall was Valkenheim, but which I do hear which I do remember bits and pieces talking to Fenrir a little bit about. They were a mountain kingdom in the mountains, said that their descendants still exist, which I do think it's true in this world. Don't know if it's actually true or not, but they may have scavenged the materials for it to be able to record history with, which maybe they recovered things from Nightingale, which is maybe what I remember briefly in my past talking to and reroutes. They focus on trading ore, stones, and able bodies assist in mining in out areas that people requested. Apparently each had an animal spirit protecting them, but apparently they vanished and weren't able to protect them through the test of times. They may be able to protect us now, but I don't even know if that'll be true, because it'll be hard to believe that there's an animal spirit out there. Another voice that's I've been hearing that's so familiar, and that's been there near me the longest, but honestly it's been like, it's familiar but I can't quite place it. Something seems to have happened to me. I don't know if you'll see me again, but I'm going to attempt to world hop like I'll be able to, like I used to be able to, which I don't really understand, quite frankly. If I'm successful, my memories won't be the same, but which again doesn't really make sense. If you guys are able to follow me, the same thing might happen to you. Heck, you might even look different too. It takes a strong bit of magic to be able to do so. Good luck. Don't really get that one, to be honest, but apparently might exist. And there's also a voice that kind of sounds distorted, maybe like an Enderman. And it tells sort of a little bit about Enderman, but it's that apparently they've been fighting against the Ender Dragons for quite a bit of time, but because how slowly they reproduce, it gave Endermen an advantage, and the war went on, and eventually they realized Endermen were actually the protectors, but apparently the damage had been done and been too late, and all the leaderships that that were in charge of the Ends banished those that still seek to kill the Ender Dragon to the Overworld and to the Nether, and restricted travel to those locations as well. Well, at least I'm assuming at least from the Nether into the Overworld into the End, rather than everywhere else. Because I imagine because they didn't want to return the outcasts to return to the End easily, to kill the last remaining Ender Dragons. And apparently there was also a few that just chose to go into the Overworld and Nether rather than stay in the End, as they found the land more interesting. The fourth voice was sound kind of heated, kind of like mine whenever I get super angry. And apparently it talked about apparently they made a deal. Apparently they made a deal, or one of their ancestors made a deal with a spirit from the Nether that left a mark on them, which, I mean, could be said about me. Which could be said about me, because I do have these horns after all. So I don't know how much it's actually true. Apparently, with some, it's just the looks of being nether touched, and others have a stronger connection to actually being able to survive longer in their spirit touched land. That would be cool. Obviously, I'm just the one that just gets their looks. Those that may feel calling to try and live there when reconnect with their roots. Which, it'd be cool to eventually reconnect with my roots, but it'll be hard. I don't have the resistance. This next voice kind of sounds animalistic, and is one of the weakest voices and harder to make out, but I did my best to try and translate it, so bear with me. And from what they could gather from their knowledge of this world, it seemed like there seem to be two major ways for animals to become awakened, or humans to turn into them. If an animal becomes awakened, then it seems like the nature spirits want to give them a blessing of some kind, so they could interact with the human mortal realm of intelligence to be able to learn something, perhaps even protect their fellow species better than what the spirits could do, as the spirits couldn't always be there to protect them, non-spirit animals. If a human has taken an aspect of an animal, perhaps it was the course of the spirit touch for harming those that they swore to protect, or maybe it's a blessing from the spirits. More often than not, they seem to enjoy the new form. It's it was some type of, like, definitely blessing or curse that, like, so it's hard to tell. Yeah, and honestly, it's, who's to say what's correct from the spirit, because for the relating to those animal spirit touch beings, as my own personal insight was rather limited from what I could gather, and I just know it would be wise not to anger them, since it could theoretically anger the spirits more quickly. Granted, I haven't seen many, like, animal spirits around, but I don't really want to push my luck. And then I heard, as I was writing these notes, I heard the second voice again. They're hoping that this message reaches people in one piece. Don't know who they're referring to, and they were hoping that that all their friends were hoping to be able to, and they hoped that they were able to make friends and be able to protect those they care about, and hopefully be able to come to this world in one piece, which, again, I don't really understand. Like, who is this person? Who are they talking about? I don't know. Yeah, they've been hearing voices too and been going a little bit crazy, but yet it's been quiet for them, and they're apparently at peace, and they've also been on edge, but there's a lot of conflicting emotions that they've been feeling, and there's a lot of memories that have been feeding them, but they also been very hungry. Honestly, it did kind of sound like me, how I quickly learned to survive, because I was always so hungry, and I never understood why I was always so hungry. Like, especially when all the other kids seemed to be much more satisfied from eating earlier than I was, and honestly, that's kind of the reason why I started to learn how to cook in secret to make myself more food, or trading with the villagers to get more food. But it's, again, if there's a connection between me and this weird voice, it just definitely seems odd. And my last sort of little notes that, like, in Twin Worlds, I've always imagined that they could exist in this world. Worlds that existed or started from the same sort of place or seed, but eventually evolved down different timelines based off of different events and choices that happened. It could explain how voices know similar experiences without them actually ever being here in the first place. I always imagined this is kind of crazy, but like, if I made different choices, I always kind of figured I wouldn't be in this world, but a completely different world with a completely different set of skills and focuses. I'd probably be farming and gathering and building rather than mining, and just trying to build up these, starting to set up these research pods, going to Nether, setting up botany pods, and just making do with this preset building here, because definitely be focusing on trying to build and expand, but thanks to this building that existed here before me, it's been easier, and I haven't had the need to actually try and focus on that. Yeah, and I've honestly been tinkering a little bit to try and expand my chest a little bit, which has been very, very useful, because it's been able to condense down my chest quite a bit. Does save me storage for the most part. Obviously, I've still like a bit of separation for like all my different supplies and stuff, but like for all my miscellaneous blocks, mob drops, nature stuff, books, yada yada yada, but at least it's more condensed rather than like, because it was a full row, so I was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chests that's I was using rather that I no longer needed. But yeah, honestly, just a lot of sort of crazy thoughts have been happening. Hopefully, you guys, some of you guys who may be able to listen in, may make use of that. And good night.